The vortex of conflict widens significantly today, pulling in the strategic waters of the Baltic Sea in a direct and aggressive response to heightened NATO naval activity. Russia's Baltic Fleet commenced large-scale military exercises, dramatically raising the potential for a direct confrontation at sea. The Russian Ministry of Defense announced that the drills would involve dozens of warships, submarine, and aircraft practicing the defense of maritime communication lines and naval base. The move is a clear signal for Moscow that it will not tolerate what it perceives as an attempt by the Western Alliance to restrict its naval access to the critical port of St. Petersburg and its heavily militarized exclave of Kaliningrad. The Russian exercises were initiated just as NATO naval forces were increasing their patrols in the region. The increased alliance presence was a direct security response to the sabotage attacks in Poland, designed to protect maritime infrastructure and reassure Baltic member states like Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. Moscow, however, has framed these defensive patrols as a hostile act. A statement from the Russian Ministry of Defense declared the heightened NATO presence a provocation aimed at establishing a de facto blockade of sovereign Russian territory. The ministry warned that any interference with Russian civilian or military vessels would be met with an immediate and firm response. In its most menacing passage, the statement vowed that the Baltic Fleet would offer resolute resistance to any and all aggressive actions and warned of grave and unpredictable consequences for any nations that challenge Russia's right to free navigations in the region. The Kremlin's naval saber-rattling drew a swift and firm response from the Trump administration, which sought to project strength without escalating the situation further. In a short statement, President Donald Trump called the Russian exercise needless and provocative and affirmed the right of all nations to navigate in international waters. He stated that NATO's naval patrols were a prudent and necessary measure to safeguard an allied nation after a terrorist attack and that the alliance would not be intimidated. The diplomatic and military arms of the U.S. government provided a more detailed counterpoint to Moscow's narrative. Secretary of State Marco Rubio characterized Russia's action as a deliberate attempt to deflect blames from its own destabilizing behavior. He explains that NATO increased naval presence is a temporary, defensive, and entirely legal measure taken in international waters to ensure maritime security. It is Russia's aggression on land that has forced the alliance to take these precautionary steps at sea. Secretary Rubio stated, "We call on Moscow to de-escalate, cease its dangerous military posturing, and return to the principle of international law." At the Pentagon, Secretary of Defense Peter Hegseth confirmed that U.S. and allied ships would continue their mission in the Baltic Sea. He described the Russian exercise as an attempt to intimidate the alliance, but insisted it would not succeed. "Our forces are operating professionally and safely in international waters," Secretary Hegseth said. "Their mission is to provide surveillance and security to reassure our Baltic allies. They are fully prepared to defend themselves and our allies, but we seek no conflict." He underscored that the responsibility for any future incident in the Baltic would lie squarely with Russia, given its aggressive and unwarranted military drills. This development transformed the conflict from a land war in Ukraine and a shadow war of sabotage into a tense naval standoff, creating a new and dangerous flashpoint between nuclear-armed powers in the confined and strategically vital waters of the Baltic Sea. Many of my listeners, like 70%, haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, and so many of you don't even know that you haven't subscribed. And that is actually what makes the show going. It's almost like you're making a donation to the show. So that's why I ask again and again, because it enables us to grow and grow and grow. And we're going for the long haul here. And listen, if this is your first time listening to Soak Cambridge, you don't have to subscribe. You guys, your first one's on me. But if you have watched this show before, it's like you're a freeloader now. So all I would ask you is, if you have seen this show before and you like it, help me, help my team here. Hit that subscribe and like button now, and we will continue to build this show for you. That I swear. Thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. That's all for me for today. I will see you soon. Bye for now.